Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now here's Jay.
And yes, please use that number. You know that for a living I do reverse mortgages. I really want to hear someone who thinks they don't like reverse mortgages. That would be, I think, a great conversation and a learning experience for both of us. So that number again is 951-922-3532, and welcome to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET 1490, where we contemplate retirement and how best to prepare for retirement and how to best stay successfully retired. We have a great guest on, another repeat offender, Christopher Bissonnette, president of the Orange County Society for Financial Awareness. But his mission in life is financial awareness no matter where you happen to be. So in the meantime, please call, email, or visit www.drheckham.com. And while you're there, be sure to look down for the YouTube link. That'll take you to all of the shows very soon after they appear, and all of the guests, and separate. So you can separate the guests from me if you want. And remember, my off-site telephone number is 866-955-2233, where knowledge is power. 866-955-2233. And just in case I don't know exactly where the camera's pointing, let me make sure I move it around. It's more exciting when things move around. Anyway, so you know I have a day job at the Loan Source, NMLS 384565, Department of Real Estate 792630. And I don't sell real estate, but I am involved with that. So we've got a couple of things. You know, today is a special day. It is 9/11, and there is no shortage of programs all around. But when we go into our things about history, we try to keep it fairly upbeat. 9/11 is not particularly upbeat, except, of course, for the way we've responded to it. So we will get on with a couple other things when it comes to today. And the first thing will be we're going to replace a couple. Let me get to one more thing before we bring on NASA Nellie. Today is National Mortgage Professional Month. Okay, and that is to honor all of those people who help others finance homes, including processors, funders, loan officers, and all involved. Now, there are at least, and Sean can tell me or maybe bring me up to date if I'm missing anything. I don't think so. But there are at least 3 of us on KMET who are lenders. And that would be Jeff Barton, the Mortgage Voice, who is on Sundays at 10 a.m. Ron Siegel, who is also a personal friend of mine and whose show I appear fairly often. Ron Siegel is on Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. So, again, we're going to replace the rest of what happened this day in history. We're going to get a report, an important report from NASA Nellie on what happened on this day. And here she goes.
Now, on this day, it all started in a small town of about 300 people in West Virginia. In these Appalachian hills at dusk on September 12, 1952, a red light streaked across the sky and a crash was heard on a nearby farm. A small family and friends, along with Mrs. May, her children, and a dog, checked it out when they reported seeing a 10-foot monster through the mist. They said it was made of dark metal with bright eyes and a green face that glowed as it hissed, and it glided and floated above the ground. The family screamed and ran in terror. Shortly thereafter, The military, National Guard, and plainclothesmen studied the scene. This fantastic story made the local newspapers and radio all over the country. Mrs. May said, and a member of the National Guard ended up going to New York to report it on CBS television. Thus, the introduction of the Flatwoods Monster. The Air Force concluded that it may have been a meteor and the creature was merely a large owl, but the witnesses knew better. UFO writers Gray Barker and Ivan T. Sanderson investigated the case, as well as famous Long John Neville Radio, who reported it. After all these years, there's still an operating museum about the Flatwoods Monster in town, as well as an annual Flatwoods Monster Festival. During the 50th anniversary in 2002, ufologist Stanton Freeman gave a lecture at the fest in a general store where two of the original witnesses were special guests. A collection of books, statues, and memorabilia, I can't even say it, as well as shot glasses and t-shirts can still be purchased at the museum. You could even film in the museum and set up an interview. And just to let you know, the Flatwoods is 150 miles from Point Pleasant, home of the Mothman.
And we all know about the Mothman. And it may be home of the Mothman, but I believe most of the reports lately have shown the Mothman to be living in and around Chicago or its bridges and rivers. So in any case, now, Sean, should we just keep rolling? We forgot to talk about this up front. Should I just keep rolling till 25 after?
Yep, keep rolling.
What's it? Just roll with it. Okay. So the following I lifted from a guy named Shannon Hicks of Heckam World. He is somebody I look up to and helps out a lot in the industry. So I paraphrase a little bit and change the tense, but here's what he had to say. Like it or not, the reality is that fear and anxiety sell. To put a point on it, fear motivates us to take protective steps to reduce risks with a reasonable solution where we would typically run to comfort instead. As it is said, action defers anxiety. So let's take a couple examples. A young income earner worries his family would suffer financially should he die prematurely. Well, they go out and they purchase a life insurance policy. So ethically, we never want to sell only based on a position of fear. However, we should ask ourselves the uncomfortable questions, such as what if questions. What if to uncover hidden fears? Those things you wouldn't volunteer to discuss, yet eat away at your peace of mind. After all, it is better to shy away from sensitive topics. Is it? I'm sorry, let me add, that's a question. After all, is it better to shy away from sensitive topics for our own comfort, or check to see if we could benefit by taking some proactive steps to leverage our home's values? More examples. Fear. The U.S. debt just added $2 trillion to the federal ledger, making federal debt exceed our annual gross domestic product for the first time since World War II. Higher taxes are likely to follow. Action. They convert their existing IRAs to Roth IRAs to stop future tax liabilities. And I'll finish with this fear, which looks like could be around the corner. Inflation is likely to increase substantially in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, making nearly everything more expensive. The action, they go out and get a reverse mortgage, which eliminates existing mortgage payments and leaves you with an available line of credit should they need to increase their cash flow even more in the future. So hopefully that helps. And Remember, when it comes to the heck'em or the reverse, know the facts, compare the numbers. It's much too important an issue to ignore, and you certainly don't want to eliminate it based on not fully understanding it. Remember that equity availability programs like this are not a belief system. It's not a religion, it's just math. The flexibility and security gives you much more than just math. Call me, 866-955-2233, or just email me at bestloantoday@gmail.com. Okay, and remember, I do have a list of people who are ready to jump in and give you advice. Hopefully, you will call on me to find some trusted advice for you. So, we need to remember those that are a part of this program. We believe in challenging the status quo, and families and people need to be active, not proactive. Okay, remember, we are here on the Educated Retirement Radio on KMET, and call me at 866-955-2233. So, we've got whose birthday is it today? Now, hopefully Lewis is watching or listening, and Lewis knows it's been a challenging day today. Earl Holliman was born in 1928, which puts him at 91 years old today. He's an American actor who is in over 50 films, including one of my favorites, and won the Golden Globe for his role in The Rainmaker. And how about that Twilight Zone episode, Where Is Everyone? He did everything from building airplanes and jets I don't know if there were jets back then, at North American, and he had a short singing and touring career as an actor. Big time animal activist, and even helped animals come back to, he even helped bring them back in his backyard, so, things that were crawling around and running around the neighborhood. Now, the movie he was in that I really put at the top of my list is, let me start off this. Here, eat your heart out, Lewis. Look at that. That's a picture disc. That's the music from Forbidden Planet. And here's the laser disc. Again, I show laser discs when I can because they're bigger pictures. Okay. But, of course, we do have that on regular DVD, Blu-ray, and all that good stuff. Here is a regular record of the music from Forbidden Planet, and original soundtrack. I know, and that's by Lewis and B.B. Barron. And there was a whole lot of controversy when it came to best musical score, at least, whether they were being nominated or not, because it wasn't exactly, which is the front on this thing? This is, anyway, take a look at that. That is a model of their spaceship. And I think we got this years ago at a place called Monsters in Motion. And I think Monsters in Motion's brick and mortar may not be there anymore.
Yes, it is.
It is, but I know you can get it, see it anywhere on the internet. Okay, and we're not done yet. Anyway, he played the cook who asked Robbie the robot to make 480 pints of genuine Kansas City bourbon just for cooking purposes because he took his duties very seriously. It was the first film to take place entirely on another planet, Altair 4, and of course, what's her name? What was her name? Look at that.
Anne Francis.
Huh?
Anne Francis.
Anne Francis played Altera. And of course, here's Robbie. Now, we have a collection of many Robbies. Okay, and here he is to say hello. We even there's a switch on his back. I think he lights up and does his sound effects. But anyway, there's Robbie, And my wife had this special made for me. It's a model of the blaster. Oh, that's right. Bring him back. As you might be able to see, there is the blaster itself Robbie has in his hand, and here is the real blaster. Okay, so thank you very much. So, anyway, it's the first time a film had a 100% electronic score, and we've already shown that. And did you know that some of it was shot on the same set as Wizard of Oz? The garden scenes from Forbidden Planet came from the land of the Munchkins. I can't believe these things. Oh, well, all right. Here's some autographs from Munchkins. Okay. I didn't know we were showing this, but the show's director is over here handing me things. So that is that. So, one more thing that you might or might not recall or know is 1701 is the serial number of the Starship Enterprise from the original Star Trek series. I don't know if I have a picture of that. Right. What's on the picture? Oh, yeah. Okay. Don't look at the rest of this because I'm going to show it later. But see, 1701, that is what was on the clock and was being repeated in the movie Forbidden Planet. It's the time that the spaceship entered the orbit around Altair 4. So they say that comes directly from that, and why not? So another connection. Brian De Palma was also born on this day in 1940. American director, best known for his work in suspense and psychological thrillers. He was a physics student who was very influenced by Hitchcock. His favorite films are Citizen Kane and Vertigo. And you know, I'm pretty close to that same list myself. And you can ask yourself what yours are. His first big success was Carrie. I know I've got it around here, but so be it. And Carrie was 1976. It was the first big screen adaptation of a Stephen King novel. First major film for John Travolta also, who was also in De Palma's Blowout, which was kind of a takeoff on Blow Up, which was Zephyr. Who was the guy that did Blow Up? But Blow Up was great too. That director did some others like I don't know, Zabriskie Point, which I didn't really care for too much. But anyway, Blow Up was great, and Blowout I thought was very, very entertaining also. So we've got that. And you remember in this time that the Black Swan is always out there. It's like the X-Files, unlike the X, you do not want to believe. But it is always true. If you don't realize how much more you can be protected with a retirement mortgage, retired or not, call me. Create those memories now. Again, this is Jay Kaplan. We are here on the Educated Retirement Radio on KMET. And before we take our break and bring on our guest, this day in history, Star Trek premiered in 1966. And saying hello. But just so that you don't forget, there he is. Now, you know, I showed you on the show before William Shatner singing, but I couldn't find, my wife and I, neither one of us could find the album. So there. But I mean, this one, Leonard Nimoy presents Mr. Spock's Music from Outer Space, and again, the 1701 is showing. So we're in great shape there. just here's a just an album from the music from the first motion picture, which ties in a little bit here. But it actually has, as I said, included a full color insert suitable for friendship prize. Now, I didn't think it was that great, or else I'd pull it out and show it to you. But so be it. It's an important date anyway, from that point of view. So there's more than one thing going on today. And with that, I'm going to give it back to Sean so he can let our sponsors have a break, and then we'll be coming back with Chris Bissonnette, who is going to tell you all. I mean, he's going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars for you if you've got anybody looking for anybody thinking of going to college. Okay, so take a break and let's talk to you soon. Take care. Hey, welcome back to the Educated Retirement. You just listened to an ad for a friend of mine and a friend of our guest, Ron Siegel. So, and I actually mentioned Ron's name and gave his schedule out in the first part of the show. So, So Chris and myself both show up on Ron's show every now and then.
Yes, he's a great guy.
Yes, he is. So you can join.
Chapman University grad.
Yes, and now he's got a son at Chapman, doesn't he?
Chapman, maybe. I think they had someone past it though. I think they're done with college.
Oh, okay. You would know about the college part of it. Our guest here is Chris Bissonnette. See, I'll give you all. He's all of those. He's a lot of things, but we'll let him say what he is, because I guess he knows him better than most anybody. But you can join the conversation. Chris is going to talk about some things that if you have anybody of college age or coming to college age, this is the man that's going to save you probably hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even if you don't have that much money, he can save it for you. So jot this number down in case you have any questions. And of course, be ready to jot down his direct lines and the information he's going to give you. But let's let him go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, well, thank you, Jay, and thank you, KMET, for having me back. Chris Bissonnette, and I'm the president of the Orange County chapter of the Society for Financial Awareness. What we do is we spread financial literacy, essentially one community at a time. So I use that nonprofit in a lot of my speaking engagements. And today I'm here to talk about FAFSA season. I don't know if you guys heard what I said there, but it was FAFSA, which stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. You can start applying, it's hard to believe, for the 2021-2022 school year, if you can believe
that's because most people take a year to be able to fill them out, and they do it wrong anyway, right?
Yes, they do it wrong. So it starts October 1st. I'm just going to share my screen here. I think it starts sharing, and let me know when you guys can see my screen here. I was featured in Parenting OC magazine. I was their featured spotlight for August because of the FAFSA filing service. So if you quickly look at my screen, you'll see the number one mistake Americans make with college is they don't file the FAFSA. And the reason being is they don't understand it, and it's too complicated, and they don't think they're going to get any money. So in 2018, $2.6 billion of free money for college went unclaimed because people don't know how to navigate the process. And I'm on the show today to say, hey, we need to get people out there filling out their FAFSA is really what people need to be doing. They need to be out there filling out their FAFSAs and applying for financial aid starting October 1st.
And you can help them.
Well, I can help them. So again, I'm going to share again. I have a couple events coming up this month. So I partnered with the County of Orange. So this presentation on the screen here, how to maximize college financial aid. This is the only presentation approved by the county. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Or I can anyway, so.
Yeah, and so if you see here, it says college costs stressing you out. FAFSA season starts October 1st. So every day for the next 3 weeks at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., I will be on Zoom, and I will be doing a 25-minute workshop covering all the things that a FAFSA does, such as understanding the system, how to get into schools that cost twice as much, spend less, how the EFC works. It's a very complicated process, and I'd like to help with it. That's basically what I'm doing. I'm helping people with this process.
Yeah, you don't want people filling it out themselves if they can help it, because what may seem like the right answer to someone is not the right answer.
Well, 80% of all FAFSAs have mistakes or irregularities, and people do hire me, Jay, after they submit the FAFSA, and we go back and have to amend it because they counted the rental property wrong. Their rollover from their 401k counts as income. It's a very complicated thing, and as I tell people, this is the largest expense of your life. Why would you TurboTax it? Essentially, it's like doing your taxes by yourself, but you've got a tax bill of 100 or let's say 300 grand. Well, you might want to consult someone who knows how to fill it out and knows how to get it the amount of money you pay lower.
I'd say you must consult someone.
You must. And one of the problems,
there's just too much.
Schools discourage it. They say don't hire someone to do it. But I'm like, why? It's kind of like you have a $100,000 tax bill, and it's very complicated. You're a business owner and you got all these things coming in. Well, most of those people, they're not going to TurboTax. They're going to go to a CPA who knows their business and say, hey, how do we get this 100 grand down to 75 grand? Or, work your magic.
Or whatever, yeah. So, school season, I guess it's, we're started, we're back in it. So, people, how far in advance? I know you said you can start filling out that paperwork now for 2021.
October 1st is when you can start, and most schools have a cutoff around February. So I know, and it's
so that's a small window.
Well, it's technically June 30th, but if you look here's the thing. Talk about a small window. A lot of Ivy League schools will say we need everything in November 15th. Your FAFSA, your profile, your application, your essay, and any supporting documents. So it's really like 45 days is when you have to do it to do super priority, meaning you're first in line and you qualify for the most money.
Now you mentioned the essay. What does that mean?
So most of these colleges require you to write an essay. Like you have to write on something, and that's a whole nother part of it. So there's you got to have really good grades, then you got to fill out an application, write an essay, maybe do the SAT, fill out the FAFSA, the profile. It's a full-time job.
Wow. You had told some stories in the past, I don't know whether it was on the radio or not, about how you've saved some people so much money, whereas going to someplace like Harvard or USC was cheaper than the community college.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should say that again.
So why don't I
talk about that again?
I will. I've got my PowerPoint up here, so I'll give you guys a little. This is kind of what I cover in those 25-minute Zoom meetings, but I'm just going to go.
Sean's doing a good job of transferring these things to the main screen, so thank you, Sean.
Okay, so I'll go through a quick example here. So here's one. We have, that's kind of cool. USC at $77,000 a year, and we have UCSB at $36,000 a year, right? The EFC's 30. It's a number that comes from your taxes and your assets. So the remaining need for USC is 47, and the remaining need for UCSB is 6. So what school costs more to the parents? Well, as you can see here at the bottom, this UCSB is going to cost the parents or the family $31,000, while USC costs $30,000. So even though USC is double the price, it costs less to attend. Why?
Wow.
I know. So the question is why? And this is where, this is one of the big keys that a lot of people don't understand. A lot of these private schools like USC, they have a lot of money. So whatever the remaining need is, they will cover 100%. Well, the UC type schools or state schools don't have any money. So the misconception is people think, well, I have, we have no money, we got to go to a state school. No, because you have no money, you should be applying to the most expensive schools because they have these massive endowments, like USC has $5 billion. Harvard has $45 billion, which is more than half the countries on earth. They cannot give it all away. So that's again why it's just like this fight. It's I call it the college planning dilemma because people don't know this. And so the poor get poorer. They think, okay, we have no money. We got to go to Cal State Fullerton, for example, and do loans. No. You should be applying to Colgate and get them to give you a $50,000 gift. That's what we should be trying for.
Well, I did go to Cal State Fullerton.
That's a good school. #1 business school on the West Coast.
My SATs gave me the ability to be locked out of there, and I had to go to the junior college. But I only lasted there 2 weeks. They said, I don't know why and who they were comparing with in these classes, but they said, you don't belong here, you belong at Cal State Fullerton. So I had to take the tests again, and then I went over to Cal State Fullerton and started 2 weeks late. But, I had a great time over there. And you know what it cost? $700 a semester, not a unit, a semester.
It was $790 for me full time at ASU in '91, which I think now is about $5,000. So it's a big problem right now. I mean, a lot of private schools in the United States, their cost of attendance per year is $80,000. So very few people in the world have $300,000 to spend on college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they just don't. I mean, who does?
And another thing is, all the money all these loans that these graduates are being saddled with, is really holding them down. I mean, it really, really is. And I know there's a whole industry and refinancing those and all that other thing.
I'm very familiar.
But if so many of these people had gone the right track to begin with, they wouldn't be going into adulthood and being let out into the world with $200,000-$300,000 loans hanging on their shoulders.
Exactly. And the problem I see with that is you're 65 years old.
I wish.
Well, not you, but you're 65 years old. You've got $200,000 in student loans. You pay $100 a month because you just can't pay it. So you're just paying something. And like you said, it's hanging over your head. And guess what? You can't do it. You can't buy a house. You can't do a lot of things now because of this massive loan. And you can't file bankruptcy for it. So I see a lot of seniors and they're like, oh, I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing because I started with a $40,000 loan and now it's $200,000 because I've been able to not pay it down. It keeps, going up.
Yeah. Why don't you give out your contact information before we go too much further? We'll do it a couple of times. So if you didn't get it this time, it'll be repeated. But go ahead.
Yes, I think so. If people want to reach out to me, they can go to my website, and it's fafsapro.us. They can go there to learn about myself on the college side, FAFSA pro.us. And then people can come to me, and I will advise them, no charge, through my nonprofit. I will answer any questions they have on college planning and financial aid. I also have this new software called College Aid Pro, where I can create a website and people can go in and put all their information. It will compute all the scholarships and grants per school, your EFC, it does the whole thing. It's pretty remarkable.
it's hard to see that's out there saving people more money than you are. Financial planning and all this other stuff is important, but my God, they just don't take this. I mean, most people have in their financial plan, they have education for their kids. They
Yes.
usually do not have health care in there. That's a whole different story. But they usually have, an amount that they're trying to aim
Yes.
for college education. And you know what? That doesn't, first of all, they're usually underestimating. I'd say 99% are underestimating to begin with.
Yes.
And number two is it's wrong because you can change that for them.
Well, that's a good point. So the number one college plan in the United States, because again, outside the United States, college is very different. Canada, Europe, it's very different. It's just different. They don't get these massive loans. They're not paying for the whole thing. Here in the U.S., people use what's called a 529 plan. It's an IRS code, 529. The problem is the 529 plan is counted in the financial aid formula. So you do the right thing. You've got 200 grand.
I see where this is going.
And you just lost 11,000 in financial aid.
Well, that's I see their logic in that. And boy, that is wow. That's a lot to think about right there. But that's, most people say, yeah, I want to start that. Let's start that as soon as the guy or girl is born.
Yep. Which is fine. You can do it into certain vehicles that don't count in the financial aid formula. They're not assessable assets, such as retirement plans, a lot of insurance, your home equity in a lot of schools, your business. So there's ways where you could have a lot of money, but on the financial aid formula, you qualify for aid. And so there's a whole strategy to that.
So I guess if you're having a baby being born this year or next year, it's still time to call Chris Bissonnette to get started on that part of the financial plan for the future. So it's never too early to call you.
Yes, and if people want to call me, my phone number is 949-590-9940.
Go ahead and repeat that.
Yeah, people can reach out to me again. Any questions on their college planning at 949-590-9940, as well as if they want to and that same number is the Zoom meeting number. So anybody for the next 3 weeks, I'll be on Zoom at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. for 25 minutes. Twice a day. They can jump on and I go through 20 minutes of really good information. I'm partnered with the Orange County Public Library. I have the only approved presentation. So come get the info. Use that same.
I think everybody should. Maybe if you're old like me and you've got grandchildren, I think everybody, even if they're not married yet, everybody should at least jump on that website and at least to see in their mind what to do later in life.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Even if you've got a 2-year-old kid, it's still good to at least start getting a feel for how the process works. It may change in 5 years, 10 years, but right now, this is how it works.
That's all you can do is keep up with what's current is the best thing. And yeah, I'd say whether they're 2 years old or 2 months old, because, where to put those investments is going to be important when it comes to that FAFSA. What is it called again?
It's the free application.
The F word.
The F word, the free application for federal student aid. Everybody should fill that out. I don't care if you make $10 million a year, because scholarships are tied to the FAFSA. So I recently got a client referred to me. I told her, I said, at LMU, it looks like you qualify for a $10,000 scholarship. She said, yeah, but that's only if you fill out the FAFSA, and we didn't. And I'm like, oh my God, I even met with you in December and you forgot to fill it out and you cost yourself 10 grand by not filling it out. A free application. And I could tell she was not very happy about it, but that's just
the way. I think most people can find a better place for 10 grand if they don't have to spend it on, a place that already has money.
Yeah.
And
so that's another misconception, Jay, is people, when they hear financial aid, they think, oh, loans, or they think, oh, for poor people. No.
Yeah.
Financial aid is a gift. Financial aid is a grant. Financial aid is a scholarship. It's a student loan. It's work study. It's all of those.
The same kind of thing applies for reverse mortgages. The first thing so many people think of, oh, it's for poor people, and that's not the case at all. More and more are the more affluent, but we're not here to talk about that. I just draw conclusions from what
exactly. The conclusion is it's again, the reason why I work with SOFA is because people are financially illiterate. As we've talked about before, there's too much stuff going on in the world for people to keep up with it all. You know, mortgages. Oh my God, there's a regular mortgage, 30-year, a 7/1 ARM, a reverse. I'm a financial guy. I have trouble keeping up. And then there's all these different IRAs now, and now there's all these different college plans, and then there's all these different health insurance. Most people are lost financially. They need guidance. They're looking for that.
Yeah, all I'm doing now are reverse mortgages. If you want to do a regular forward mortgage, I refer them to somebody else. Because I can't keep up with everything.
Well, that's good. Well, that's your super niche, and that's why you're good at it. The more specialized you are in any industry, usually the more successful people are.
Yeah, and you know who I refer to, so we've already talked about them.
Yes, of course.
On this show. So I just can't believe how important your job is in this world, and why so many more people don't know about it. You need to get onto the toppest hilltops and mountains and buildings with a megaphone and make sure this gets out there. I mean, these schools have the money. Let them use the money. That money that they're using is helping themselves by getting themselves better alumni and better students. It's helping the country by far, by allowing more minds to get more education.
Exactly. So I did throw my flyer up one more time again. I do twice a day for the next 3 weeks. Starting today, I had 6 people on this morning. We will be covering how to maximize college financial aid, gifts, grants, scholarships, and I will be covering even COVID-19, how it's affected negotiations, how to do your EFC, how to get, some of the stuff I showed you. So people can just go to Zoom and go to that phone number there, and I will be there every day, twice a day, to provide hopefully some really valuable education.
Is there any special time of day that you're doing?
10 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Oh, okay. So that should cover everybody.
I tried. I was like, what do I do? 10-4? I go, well, I'm just going to do 10 and 6. And then, like I said, I did my first one today. So that flyer went through all the libraries. So I believe that was distributed out to all the Orange County libraries. And then we had about 6 people on this morning. So that was my first one.
Yeah, and the libraries, I know, they need to vet people a lot. They're not going to let you be a part of any of their presentations unless they've looked really, really deep into you.
Well, here's the other thing, too. You could be the most outstanding person, but if you make money, you can't speak. That's their rule. So you have to be a nonprofit. Like I'm a nonprofit. That's how I got it approved. And then they do look at your presentation. You have to send it to them.
Well, yeah, sure. But we know your presentation from here is a good one.
Yes, and so that was very important to me going down this road, is to establish my credibility. And like I said, I'm still the only person approved through the county.
And of course, if you're in a different county, don't hesitate to contact Chris.
Or anywhere in the country, even if you've got people. I do business with people. I had a guy on today from Texas, so people can really be anywhere in the U.S. FAFSA is a United States thing, as long as you got a Social Security number.
So you're not limited at all.
So the big thing today for your listeners, if you have anyone who has kids in high school or college, because they think, my kid's in college, great, he's got to file the FAFSA every year. They don't know that. I have some guy, a UCI intern, he goes, we did it the first year, we didn't get anything, we didn't file after. I'm like, you got to file every year.
First of all, they probably didn't do it right the first year.
And he didn't know you're supposed to do it every year. He's in college. So the point here is everyone files a FAFSA. Ideally, it should be October, November, especially if you're low income, because the federal grant money called a Pell Grant, it goes very quickly. So that goes first. So you got to apply October, November to do the FAFSA. And I would also suggest you complete the College Scholarship Services profile called the CSS profile that 1% of schools use. No one does that one, but that's where all the money is all these Ivy League type schools. But you got to complete this other form, and that's where you get the $50,000 gift to attend our school. Here's a gift. Wow. Here's $200,000 to come join us when you were going to spend full boat at the state school.
Let me ask you a question. I got some friends that I know that are.
You have friends?
Well, acquaintances anyway.
Okay.
Maybe they don't know me that well yet, but that are obviously younger than me that have kids in college right now.
Kidding.
Some of these I know are in scientific fields and will probably go on to masters and doctorates.
Okay.
So if they've already missed the chance to save money on undergraduate,
yes,
do these also apply to graduate?
There's no free money for graduate school. It's only loans.
Okay.
All right. Okay. But that's a good question because it's like what grad school. So the government views it as it's kind of not required. So we're only federal grant money for undergrad.
I see. But okay. But
great
so they need to get started though.
They need to get started. Please, guys, you can reach out to me, Chris Bissonnette, 949-590-9940. Go to my website, fastfapro.u. You can call me anytime, even if you just have a general question to say, I'm on the FAFSA now. I put here. The biggest mistake, personally, is rental properties. People put the wrong price for their rental property. A friend of mine from Arizona State, fraternity buddy, reviewing his stuff. Oh, looks like you cost yourself $40,000 because you didn't put the right price. You put the value and not the tax assessed value. You just got to do tax assessed.
Wow. There's a big difference between those two.
It's a big difference, as you know. And that was $10,000 a year for 4 years, the way he put it wrong. So I had to let him know that. And I see that a lot where I'm like advising people when the kid's a senior in college going, oh boy, you didn't do this. Oh, no, I kind of oops. So we're trying to avoid that. So anybody, please reach out. I do want to provide this service through SOFA. Again, we're here to educate.
Yes. But the whole show here is about educating. And when a guest like yourself, as Ron Siegel would say, a repeat offender comes on, it's even more so for education. And what you have to say is almost shocking, to tell you the truth. That's how important it seems and how much money you're actually saving people.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I have a 4 o'clock today, and I just looked at his stuff. So here's a guy making about $400,000 a year, right? Mm-hmm. So you're thinking, oh, this guy's doing okay. He's got college covered. He's going to qualify for need-based financial aid when the second child's in college. So guy making $400,000 a year, I'm going to show him today, you qualify for gifts and grants because you're going to have 2 kids in school at the same time. And your EFC gets split in half. So even though you make a lot of money, you can make up to $300,000 adjusted gross income per child and qualify for need-based aid at some schools.
And just because somebody's making X amount this year doesn't mean they're going to make it.
And then next year, especially if you're in the mortgage business, you could be out of the business in 2 years.
Yeah, I know. I've made anywhere from $20,000 a year to $2 million a year. And of course, that was when I had a big company.
Is the reverse business really good now too? Because
very good.
Okay, because the regular mortgage business is really good.
Oh yeah, and the reverse is too. I think part of it is due to the COVID scare and the uncertainty of the future. Me, unfortunately, I was out with that pancreatitis, which still kind of continues, and I missed some of it, but it's been a decent year. It's been a good year for me.
Good,
but I can't overwork, but I can work, and I get things done either between me or whatever in a timely manner. So we're still going good on that. But
is that a new typewriter behind you?
Is that what? Oh,
is that new?
Typewriter? I got that typewriter right after I saw the
Civil
movie
War?
Naked Lunch. Now, are you familiar with Naked Lunch? You're just a kid, but Naked Lunch was one of the real famous novels from the hip generation of the 50s, like On the Road by Kerouac,
Oh, okay.
Sheltering Sky by Bowles, and um, Naked Lunch.
I do like that Terminator skull. Pretty
Yeah.
cool. Hey,
1
Jay,
minute.
listen, I don't want to.
1 minute.
I don't want to bug out, but I think I'm going to have to get out pretty soon here.
Yeah,
So.
me too. We just got our 1 minute warning, but the typewriters in that novel turned.
Wow.
They got alive because the people in that novel they were all drug heads and they became exterminators so that they could smell the poison
Oh, interesting.
and get high, and then the typewriters that they were typing on would become alive, and sometimes typewriters fought with each other. So really the way that. Anyway, we gotta go.
Well, listen,
Thank you
I
so
wanna say
much.
Thank you, Jay, for having me on. Thank you, KMET, and thank you to your listeners.
Yeah,
You
and
guys,
Kaplan,
again, it's 9/11 day, so, and also
Yep.
thank you to all our fallen heroes. So,
yeah,
you guys have a good one and a great weekend.
thank you. You too. And Kaplan will be here on the same corner in front of the cigar store next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.